Donald Trump has pardoned former Sheriff Joe Arpaio, the hardline Arizona lawman who was convicted of contempt of court in July for defying a judge's order to stop racially profiling Latinos. Trump had signaled his intention to grant the pardon at a rally in Phoenix on Tuesday evening, when he suggested Arpaio was convicted for doing his job. Arpaio's life and career exemplify selfless public service, White House Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders said in a statement Friday night, adding after more than 50 years of admirable service to our nation, he is worthy candidate for a presidential pardon. I am pleased to inform you that I have just granted a full pardon to 85-year-old American patriot Sheriff Joe Arpaio. He kept Arizona safe, Trump later wrote on Twitter, as a major hurricane made landfall in Texas and after signing a controversial directive on transgender people in the military. In an interview with the Arizona Republic moments after his pardon was publicly announced, Arpaio hinted at a return to politics. I told my wife that I was through with politics, he told the paper. But now I've decided I'm not through with politics because of what's happening. I didn't ask for a pardon. It has nothing to do with a pardon. I've been saying this for the last couple of months. I've got a lot to offer. Over Arpaio's 24-year tenure as sheriff of Maricopa County, he gained notoriety for detaining hundreds of undocumented immigrants in a tent-city jail and forcing them to wear pink underwear. The sheriff courted controversy and media attention, calling his own jail a concentration camp, serving inmates just 2 meals a day and selling replica pink underwear to the public, as he became a national figurehead for the virulent xenophobia that Trump embraced in his presidential campaign. In November, amid a surge in Latino voters, the then 84-year-old lost his bid to win a 7th term. In an interview with Fox News' Sean Hannity on Friday evening, the former sheriff joked that he would have fared better in federal prison than in the jails he once operated. It's federal, I could play bocce and have 3 meals a day. Arpaio also said he would hold a news conference next week to discuss the abuse of politics in the judicial process, and blamed the news media for trying to destroy me all these years. While many local law enforcement agencies leave immigration matters to the federal agency charged with enforcing them, the Maricopa Sheriff's Department aggressively pursued the arrest of undocumented immigrants under Arpaio. His criminal conviction stems from his 2011 refusal to comply with a judge's order to halt the practice of engaging in traffic stops that targeted Latino drivers. Arpaio continued the traffic patrols for nearly a year and a half after the court order. Federal prosecutors charged him with misdemeanor contempt of court in 2016, arguing that his defiance of the order was politically motivated. Arpaio had been scheduled to be sentenced in October and could have faced up to 6 months in jail. Trump said on Tuesday that he was waiting to issue the pardon because he did not want to cause any controversy. But not even an impending hurricane could prevent the onslaught of outrage at the presidential pardon in a country still reeling from the white supremacist violence in Charlottesville and Trump's equivocation on denouncing neo-Nazis and the Ku Klux Klan. Both senators from Arizona, both Republicans, criticized the pardon. Senator John McCain said in a statement that Trump's action undermines his claim for the respect of rule of law. And Senator Jeff Flake said on Twitter, I would have preferred that the president honor the judicial process and let it take its course. The American Civil Liberties Union tweeted, by pardoning Joe Arpaio, Donald Trump has sent another disturbing signal to an emboldened white nationalist movement that this White House supports racism and bigotry. The ACLU represented Latino residents of Maricopa County in the lawsuit that resulted in Arpaio's contempt conviction. Joe Arpaio and Donald Trump together in Iowa. Trump called him an American patriot after issuing the pardon. Photograph Mary Altafer in a statement. ACLU Deputy Legal Director Cecilia Wang called the pardon a presidential endorsement of racism. Maria Castro, a community organizer with Puente, Arizona, a group that was central to the campaign against Arpaio, said of Trump, we've been calling him a white supremacist and now he's showing the rest of the country what we already knew. The people who actually deserve this pardon are the people who were in Tent City and who had to endure the 120-degree summer heat and who were victims of his rage. Though the U.S. Constitution empowers the president to grant pardons, constitutional scholars have been sharply critical of the idea of pardoning Arpaio due to the nature of his crime, defying a federal judge's order to cease engaging in unconstitutional behavior. Such a pardon would be an assault on the federal judiciary, the Constitution and the rule of law itself, Harvard law professor Noah Feldman wrote in Bloomberg. Hillary Bass, the president of the American Bar Association, said in a statement pardoning a law enforcement officer who has disobeyed the courts and violated the rights of people he has sworn to protect undercuts judicial authority and the public's faith in our legal system. Trump has frequently raised concerns about his respect for the judiciary, a co-equal branch of government with the executive. During his campaign, Trump said that a federal judge of Mexican heritage was incapable of ruling fairly over a case involving Trump University. He also repeatedly lambasted judges who ruled against the travel ban. The reaction among Arizona lawmakers was sharply divided. Republican Congressman Paul Gosar welcomed the pardon, saying in a statement that it reflects the very reason we voted President Trump into the Oval Office, to uphold the rule of law. But Phoenix Mayor Greg Stanton, who had accused Trump of stoking racial tensions with his Phoenix rally, called the pardon a slap in the face to the people of Maricopa County, especially the Latino community. Trump lashes out at truly dishonest media reporting of Charlottesville. Congressman Ruben Gallego, a Democrat, was more pointed, saying on Twitter that he was not surprised by the pardon. Racists always back up racists. In another controversial move on Friday, Trump approved a directive that prohibits transgender people from enlisting in the armed forces but stops short of instructing the Pentagon to remove trans individuals already in the military. The directive jeopardizes the futures of thousands of trans service members, dozens of whom advocacy groups have already mobilized for possible lawsuits. Trump's memo gives Defense Secretary James Mattis latitude to determine, based on an assessment of trans service members' ability to be deployed, if they can remain on active duty. Mattis has 6 months to make the instructions reality. Trump announced the ban last month in a series of 3 tweets, appearing to blindside military leaders. His announcement was reportedly intended to placate congressional conservatives, but drew bipartisan condemnation. Immediately following the news, LGBT advocacy groups vowed to take the administration to court. Rebecca Isaacs, executive director of the Equality Federation, said this incredibly discriminatory move to reverse existing policy does nothing to keep our service members or our country safe. Molly Redden contributed additional reporting.